here in Dominica and the world by extension. Today is World Diabetes Day, celebrated each year on the 14th of November. And this morning, it is a beautiful day because we are wearing blue in celebration of World Diabetes Day. This morning, we are here at this press conference to basically sensitize the public on matters relating to diabetes, more specifically diabetes in Dominica. But before we actually get into the content of today's program, let me begin by calling one of our members, Miss Afanes, to open us in a word of prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Can we please stand to acknowledge? Okay. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this morning. Lord, we thank you for waking us up this morning to come here today at this press conference. Lord, I pray, Lord, that as we sit down and listen, Lord, whatever that is being spoken, Lord, we will understand and we will learn from it, even out to the public, all those that's listening on the news right now, Lord. I just pray, Lord, that today will go as planned, and thank you for doing it, and thank you for always being there and doing it on time. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you very much, Ms. Afanes. My name is Carlton Lando, and I'm the first Vice President of the Dominica Diabetes Association. And this year is a very interesting year for us because many of us on the association are new to the association and the affairs of the association. But we do hope in our tenure that the information and education that we'll be disseminating will certainly catalyze and make positive changes to our communities. At this time, I am just going to give a brief history of DOMDA, which is the Dominica Diabetes Association. Those of you who may be new to the association or may have never heard about it, it has been around for some time. The Dominica Diabetes Association, Inc., or DOMDA, is a registered non-profit organization committed to working collaboratively with organizations of similar orientation in the prevention and management of chronic non-communicable diseases, more specifically diabetes. The association's main focus is to promote wellness and help build self-management capabilities among the population, with special emphasis on people living with diabetes and related complications. Over the past few years, DOMDA has helped focus attention on the growing concerns of lower limb amputations and had led people with education in care for their feet, particularly utilizing simple and easily available materials and supplies. In addition, greater awareness of diabetes, the disease and prevention of complications have been achieved through activities which include self-management demonstrations, public sidewalk screening, and information sharing, health fairs and radio spots, while working in collaboration with other civic society organizations and the Ministry of Health. DOMDA is a member association of the International Diabetes Federation, a member of DFOOT International, and the Healthy Caribbean Coalition. Permit me to give a short historical perspective. The Dominica Diabetes Association started in 1988 and became a member of the International Diabetes Federation in 1994. The association was reenacted in 2008 after many years of inactivity. The earlier years of the association owe its existence to Mr. Cleve Butler, now deceased, retired nurse practitioner Rebecca Euseb, dietitian Mrs. Eleanor Lambert, among others. The resurrection of the association owes much to a number of individuals, and permit me again to highlight a few of the people who led with passion and determination to achieve success. They are Mrs. Norrin Merritt, Venn of the Barbados Diabetes Association or Foundation, members of the Rotary Club of Dominica, especially Father Reverend Reginald Lafleur, and of course our very own Marvelyn Birmingham, who still works tirelessly with this current executive. Mr. Lennox Santemi, who still works with the executive as treasurer, and Mr. Desmond Blanchard provided much support, and Mrs. Ignis Beaton of the Guyana Diabetes Association for an inspirational engagement with people with diabetes in Dominica to get things going. So in a nutshell, the Dominica Diabetes Association has had quite a history here in Dominica. And one of the things that we are trying to dispel is that diabetes is not an elderly or an older person disease or medical condition. It can impact every and any one of us. Particularly, one of the risk factors is our ethnicity. So even being a black person, that increases the risk factor. And so those of you who may not have known of DOMDA, know that, as they would say on DBS, now you know that we have been in existence. So at this time, we are going to listen to some brief remarks from our very own president of the Dominica Diabetes Association, Miss Simon. Miss Samuel, my apologies. Miss Samuel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carlton Lando. Now, Carlton shared who were the current trailblazers from the inception of DOMDA, but he did not indicate who is partnering with him and with us. So as he said, he's the first vice president for the association. We have Dr. Alicia Honore, Miss Marvelyn Birmingham, Mr. Lennox Santemi. So we still have persons from then still spearheading the association. We do have our PRO, Richie Farrell, Royet Charles, our secretary treasurer, Alexia Athenas, who did our opening prayer, and Royet George. We have a wide range of persons who are also coming in with special skills, and so our advisory board plus includes Dr. David Johnson, Nurse Priscilla Prevo, Dr. Hazel Shillingford Ricketts, and as you know, as you would have heard, as Carlton shared, today is World Diabetes Day, and our key activity for today, in addition to this press conference, is that we are conducting diabetic retinopathy screening at HMS with Dr. Hazel Shillingford. So big shout out to her and her team there, and all this is for free, and we say thank you very much. In addition to those I mentioned, we do have, again, Dr. Reverend Reginald Lafleur is still with us, Dr. Leandi Bertrand, Mrs. Coralie Thomas, Dr. Natasha Esprit, and our very own Sunny Abraham at our head office. So if you want to know who are the persons to see, to call, they are the persons. According to the International Diabetes Federation, new global research from them indicates that over 3 to 4 persons with diabetes have experienced symptoms such as anxiety, depression, and other mental health conditions due to diabetes. In fact, they share that almost 3 to 4 persons with diabetes have experienced diabetes burnout, a state of physical or emotional exhaustion caused by daily requirements of managing the disease. And it says a new global survey was conducted again by the International Diabetes Federation, reveals that 77% of people living with diabetes have experienced what was just aforementioned. The fear of developing complications was 83%, was the most common factor that impacted well-being. Other factors include daily diabetes management, what to do, stigma and discrimination, and the fear of needles. And I know many persons can say that they don't like to take injection. So the survey also highlighted a clear call for better support, with 3 in 4 people living with diabetes seeking increased support for their emotional and want nutritional guidance. We do not just want physical activity information. They are saying that we want more. And we partner with the International Diabetes Federation in saying and in promoting putting well-being at the heart or the center of diabetes care. So even the diabetics, based on the survey research, actually saying that they want more. But what can we do? And how do we intentionally put well-being at the heart of diabetes care? There are a few things that we can do. We can, especially our medical persons, offer patient-centered care. This principle guides all aspects of a patient's care, including physicals, hospitalizations, and surgeries. Patient-centered care can lead to better health outcomes, stronger relationships between patients and healthcare providers, and more trust between the two. We can also advocate for respect, patient autonomy. Sometimes if a patient says they don't want the medication or they refuse to, there's a point where your love for them can only go so far. So healthcare providers should respect a patient's right to direct their care, even if they choose not to follow the healthcare provider's recommendations. So sometimes we have this issue. What can we do as well? Communicate effectively. Communicate effectively. Healthcare professionals and supporters should be able to explain prescriptions, symptoms, and to communicate clearly and concisely with patients. Some persons don't know. We can show empathy. Healthcare providers, families, and supporters should be empathetic and understanding in patient interactions. What else can we do with regards to their well-being? Maintaining patients' dignity is an important part of their recovery. Respecting the patient's privacy is a key responsibility of healthcare providers. And personal care. A personalized care and support plan can help not only identify but also address a patient's physical, practical, emotional, and social needs. Like other non-communicable diseases, diabetes in its varied forms is undoubtedly an increasing public health problem. As an association and a nation, we declare emphatically and in unison that diabetes does not and will not have the last say over our lives, so long as we remain determined, empowered, and united in the fight against diabetes. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam President, for again highlighting the unity that is needed in the fight against diabetes. This morning, the Minister of Health could not be with us because he had some travel plans, but we are happy to have someone representing his office, and so we have with us Dr. Verna Alfred, who is a medical practitioner, and she is representing the Ministry of Health this morning at this press conference. Let's make welcome Dr. Alfred as she comes to deliver some remarks.
Let me recognize the presence of the President of DOMDA, Ms. Antonia Samuel, our featured speaker, Dr. Natasha Maxine Esprit, our chairperson, Mr. Carlton Lando, members of DOMDA, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, and distinguished guests, good morning. Life across the globe. This year's theme, Breaking Barriers, Bridging Gaps, presents us with an urgent call to action, ensuring that every individual, irrespective of their background or circumstances, has the resources and support necessary to manage, prevent, and live well with diabetes. Diabetes is not merely a medical issue. It represents a significant social challenge. Its effects ripple through families and communities, burdening our health care system and economies. However, we know that with the right support, resources, and lifestyle choices, diabetes can be managed and in many cases prevented. The government of Dominica has been proactive in combating non-communicable diseases, particularly diabetes. Following the devastation of Hurricane Maria, we constructed 12 new health and wellness centers to improve access to health care for all citizens. In addition, we are proud to have experts like Dr. Alison Abel-Seaman, a Dominica angiologist and vascular surgeon who is working diligently at the Dominica-China Friendship Hospital. Dr. Abel specializes in treating conditions related to the circulatory and lymphatic system, providing both surgical and non-surgical intervention for various vascular diseases. Furthermore, we have our very own Dr. Natasha Maxime Esprit, an endocrinologist integrated within our primary healthcare services. She is dedicated to the prevention, diagnosis, and management of diabetes mellitus. Dr. Maxime Esprit travels to all 7 health districts to establish personalized treatment plans, especially for individuals grappling with uncontrolled diabetes. In addition, the Ministry of Health continues to implement the school health program where our FMPs or our family nurse practitioners play a vital role in detecting conditions in children at an early age and addressing abnormalities and issues such as obesity. Through screening, our young ones are referred to specialists for further management, paving the way for healthier futures. We have also taken critical steps to promote public health by increasing taxes on sugary drinks and tobacco over the last 2 budget cycles, thereby encouraging healthier choices within our communities. The implementation of the Health Management Information Systems, HMIS, will enable us to enhance the management of health data guiding public health care outcomes effectively. In our efforts to combat diabetes, we recognize the need for robust treatment modalities. We are in the process of clinical approval for Herbaprat P, a groundbreaking Cuban-manufactured product designed to treat advanced diabetic foot ulcers. Additionally, we are exploring complementary treatments such as hyperbaric oxygen therapy to enhance care for diabetic patients. Today, I want to take a moment to commend the Dominica Diabetes Association for their unwavering dedication and the excellent arrangement for today's event. Their tireless work is promoting diabetes awareness and support at the community level. On behalf of the Ministry of Health, we reaffirm our commitment to increase awareness, improve treatment, and promote preventative measures to effectively address the escalating incidence of diabetes. I urge everyone to stay informed, embrace healthy lifestyle choices, and provide mutual support in the fight against this condition. Together, through amplified awareness, improved access to care, and community solidarity, we can strive towards a healthier future for all. That was the address on behalf of the Minister of Health for Diabetes Day. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alfred, for delivering on behalf of our very own Minister of Health, Mr. Laville. Minister Laville. At this time, we are getting ready to listen to our featured speaker for today's commemoration of World Diabetes Day. Her name was mentioned earlier by the minister's speech, on the minister's speech, and I know that many of us who would have interacted with this doctor knows that she is extremely passionate about healthcare, passionate about Dominica, passionate about optimizing health for all. Dr. Natasha Maxime Esprit, who hails from the community of Bellevue-Chopin. I suspect she's extremely proud to say so. But she also has some roots in Jimmy too, you know, where I'm from. She began her education majoring in biology and Spanish at the Dominica State College, went on to do a 7 years general medicine degree at the Latin American School of Medicine in Venezuela, then specialized at the Institute of Endocrinology at Havana, Cuba for 3 years. She said it's the most prestigious center for endocrine studies in the Caribbean. She's currently employed as a specialist consultant in the area of endocrinology as an endocrinologist with the Ministry of Health to prevent, diagnosis, and treat diseases related to the endocrine system, including, but not limited to, the pituitary glands or tumors, the thyroid system, the parathyroid disorders, adrenal dysfunctions, diabetes, polycystic ovaries, obesity, and all diseases that are related to the hormonal system. This morning, it gives me pleasure to really welcome our keynote speaker this morning, Dr. Natasha Maxime Esprit.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I see Carlton is trying to steal me from my village. A pleasant good morning to all. Let me first give thanks to God for our ability to gather here today, and also for blessing us with the resources that we need here in Dominica in dealing with the prevention and management of diabetes. I take time out to recognize the members of the Dominica Diabetes Association, the president, and I congratulate you on the great work that you are doing. Be encouraged that you are not alone in the fight, and what you do may at times seem little, but it's accomplishing much more that you'll be able to see with your bare eyes. Let me also recognize the presence of Dr. Werner Alfred in representation of Honorable Laville, our Minister of Health, and the members of the media. Again, I say good morning to everyone. And to you, the listeners, via social media and through any other means, a pleasant good morning to you. Today, in my address to you, I would like to take a more personal approach. You already know that diabetes is one of the leading causes of death worldwide. We know the risk factors. We know the consequences. All that information is one click away. Yet, we are still fighting a battle which at times, if we were to be honest, feels like a losing one. I will begin by making 3 confessions. 1, I am happy that we have a sugar shortage, and I hope it prolongs, and you can imagine why. Number 2, I am already feeling anxious as Christmas is approaching, and I know I will be hearing a lot of doctor, is the fruitcake. And number 3, I am still in favor of cutting down all the mango trees in Dominica, as it seems like we can't resist the basin of mangoes. Good, so that's to give you a little sneak peek of what I go through in consultation every day. So today in this address, I will present to you real encounters that I have had. Anecdotes which may help us understand the main reasons why I believe that diabetes and its complications are so prevalent. In 2022, I was assigned by the Ministry of Health, by then Minister of Health, Dr. Irvin McIntyre, and the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. David Johnson, the position of Specialist Medical Officer in the field of endocrinologist. However, my role as endocrinologist would not be the conventional one where I walk from one patient's bed to the next in a hospital setting. Endocrinology covers a very wide range of hormonal disorders. However, top priority for the Ministry of Health is diabetes, a reason for which I was tasked with working as a specialist, but in an unconventional way, going to the clients in every nook and cranny in Dominica. Today, I can proudly say that I have literally been from Capuchin to Kashaku. There isn't one community I haven't walked through that I don't encounter clients, and this fills me with immense pride, a sense of purpose that I am contributing to my country and playing my part in the fight against NCDs. In the following real examples of cases I have seen, the names and locations have been changed so as to protect the client's privacy. Number 1, I will speak to you of 15-year-old Sarah, who was brought to me by her mom as she was concerned about her weight. At first consultation, Sarah was diagnosed with grade 2 obesity and hypertension. Let's remember that Sarah is 15 years. Her blood pressure that day was 160/110. Sarah, a second form student, was performing poorly at school and was bullied due to her weight. On second consultation, she was diagnosed with insulin resistance and placed on a very strict diet. Due to the extent of her underlying conditions, medications were needed to control her blood pressure and bring down her insulin levels. I did a home visit to get a better understanding of her living environment. We would speak via WhatsApp almost every day, and I bought her first skipping rope. Both mom and daughter understood the risk of Sarah at 15 already having hypertension, progressing from insulin resistance to type 2 diabetes. And the whole family were given up and replaced with fruits. Sarah started swimming classes as a form of exercise and made good use of her skipping rope. Today, Sarah is no longer obese. Her blood pressure has returned to normal and her insulin levels are back to normal. We managed to reverse insulin resistance and hypertension in 1 year. Sarah is now a happy third former. Her grades have gone up and she has maintained a healthy lifestyle. Lessons from Sarah's journey. Number 1, diabetes and hypertension are no longer illnesses of the adults. Our children are at great risk. If we do not intervene, we will lose an entire generation. Number 2, it still takes a village. Sarah's family and even her neighbors stepped up and helped her along her journey. We should strive to be an encouragement to those around us. If we all work together towards the same goal of healthy living, we will succeed. I present to you the story of 36-year-old Jane. Jane was referred to me by her gynecologist. She had been trying for 8 years to get pregnant and was on the verge of ending her relationship of 12 years as the couple was cracking under the pressure of infertility. As soon as I asked, "How may I help you?" she burst into tears. 10 minutes of consultation turned into consolation. Jane was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome and type 2 diabetes. Her blood sugar levels were so high that she immediately had to be placed on insulin therapy. Imagine the weight of a 36-year-old in a managerial position, a struggling relationship, the burning desire to be a mother, and now having to endure 2 pricks a day in order to normalize her blood sugar. At 36, there were already signs of diabetic neuropathy. Jane had been diabetic for a while before her consultation, but was unaware. Her last visit to a doctor before having fertility issues was at age 18, when she suffered from an irregular menstrual cycle. So basically from 18 to 36, she had not been to a doctor. Jane, fueled by her desire to have a child, began on a path to good health. Thankfully, she received the support from her spouse. She joined the gym, started counseling, made dietary changes, and with the help of a dietitian, today, she is succeeding. She is now a mom of a 1-year-old boy. Wow. We joke about him so much, looking like his dad, after she was the one who put in so much effort. Jane is now off insulin and now has a very good metabolic profile. The impact of diabetes is not only on the physical body. Our mental health also deteriorates. Coping with this illness can be challenging, especially if one does not have a support team. Jane had what I find lacking in most clients who suffer from diabetes. It is not knowledge, but motivation. Today, make it your mission to find someone who suffers from diabetes and be a source of encouragement. To those who are diabetics, find a source of motivation, be it spiritual, your children, your desire to live a long, healthy life. Diabetes is not a death sentence. It can be managed. Finally, I bring to you the story of the 67-year-old who had already suffered a stroke. On first consultation, he confessed that he ate 6 butterflaps a day. My greatest task was convincing him to give up the butterflaps. We have had about 10 consultations, and he always brightens my day, but I was concerned. Mr. Joseph was left to fend for himself. His children were too busy. A diabetic ulcer was found under his foot. His blood pressure was extremely high. I wondered how he was self-administering his medications, as I noticed his eyesight was very bad and his memory was fading. Mr. Joseph needed help. Every single consultation, he would have to be placed on insulin and IV fluid, spending hours at the clinic for management. On the 5th consultation, I decided to call his son, who resides in England, via WhatsApp. Within a matter of 3 weeks, a caretaker was assigned. Stocked up in the house were expired medications, all mixed together. Mr. Joseph was not compliant to treatment as indicated. That, along with his dietary transgressions, led to him developing complications. Thankfully, the caretaker is doing an excellent job along with the nursing team. We conquered the battle against the butterflaps. He is only allowed 1 a day. Last month, he brought me 2 and demanded that I should have it for snack. I'm sure that I do not have to explain the many faults in Mr. Joseph's story. Therefore, I will end by listing the reasons I believe diabetes and its complications are so prevalent, in hope that we do some introspection and make the necessary changes. Forgive me for being so blatantly honest in the following. Number 1, some, especially the younger generation, simply do not care. We live life like we own tomorrow. We do not pay attention to our health unless we are sick, and even then, once the illness is resolved, our health is placed on the back burner. In Dominica, we are equipped with the necessary resources to prevent diabetes. We have access to public health staff free of charge. We have access to healthy food. We have areas where we can comfortably go walking or swimming, some form of exercise, yet still, how many of us are taking the necessary steps to maintain a healthy lifestyle? When was your last doctor's visit? When was your last blood test? When was the last time you measured your blood pressure and blood sugar levels? Number 2, non-compliance. About 45% of the uncontrolled cases I see are due to non-compliance. patients who do not follow the dietary nor pharmacological guidelines given by the healthcare provider. And so, the bus driver who is not eating healthily and still refuses to take his meds is driving passengers around daily with his blood pressure at 200 on 100. That's a case I saw this week. And his blood sugar at 400. Imagine the possible tragedy. We need to be more responsible of our health. Number 3, inadequate knowledge as to how to go about making lifestyle changes, aiming towards prevention, and also implementing the management strategies established by our healthcare providers. This is where seeking assistance comes in, which in many cases we do not do and opt for giving up. We have access to diabetes care specialists, nurses, pharmacists, internal medicine specialists, nutritionists, dietitians, angiologists, certified food care providers, and an endocrinologist. All of the above can be accessed via public health. We should all ensure that we access these services to optimize care. Number 4, policy changes as well as assistance to ensure that those suffering from diabetes are well equipped with the necessary tools. All diabetics should own a blood glucose monitor and a blood pressure monitor. This proves sometimes economically challenging, but it will bring me great joy the day that this is fulfilled. I would like to take time out to encourage those suffering with type 1 diabetes, which a lot of times is left behind as we focus on type 2. Type 1 is caused by the autoimmune destruction of the pancreatic cells, which produce insulin. These clients are usually diagnosed in childhood, and this can prove very challenging. If you or your child suffers from type 1 diabetes, please seek specialized care, as we are seeing an increase in complications due to poor management. Finally, I would like to give a word of encouragement to all of us collectively. Just as we did with COVID-19, if we work together with one mindset and give to diabetes its due respect as we did to the prevention and management of COVID, we will be successful. However, we must begin with introspection. So I leave you with these questions. What can I do differently to live a healthier life? And who can I reach out to lend a hand of support? I will continue working diligently to help and to offer assistance to those who are in need. And I pray with this little discussion that we had here today that everyone is encouraged to live a healthier life and also to reach out to those around them who suffer from diabetes. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Esprit. I think this speech itself was so revealing, and many of us in here could have identified with the three stories, individual stories that she narrated, and we could have sort of even begin to assess it as to what went wrong, what could have been improved, and what would maybe we would have done differently. But it shows too that as a community, we have a responsibility to look after our brothers and sisters. And that's one of the areas that I'm very, very passionate about, adherence to not just medical information, but particularly medication. And we've always said to people, especially the elderly, if you do have many medicines that you have and you don't know what is what and you don't seem to understand them because some are brand names, some of them are generic names, bring them to us. Bring them to your nearest pharmacist and let that individual sort out the medicines for you. Sometimes some of these containers are not very clean, so you have even contamination. Sometimes they're oxidized. The medication, the integrity of the medicine is not what it's supposed to be, and they may need to be dumped. So all of these areas are areas of major concern. I heard Dr. Maxime said something earlier on in her introduction that sort of gave me a little blow in my chest, cutting down the mango trees. Because everybody who knows me well knows that I love mango long. But I understand during that time we overindulge. And many of us, we cannot just eat one, we eat a basin. And so those of us who really love the mangoes, it's a time. And the fruit cake, it's a time. And the ham, these are the times that we have to really show the discipline that would have been given to us and would have been encouraged to us by our healthcare providers. At this time, we are opening the lines for the media. If you have any questions that you may want to ask the panel, you are welcome to do so. I know we have some media persons here. You can ask a question and we will take your questions. So.
Yeah, I'm sure Duncan is online. I only have one.
You can.
Okay.
Yes.
I only have one question. I am interested in the statistics, Dominica statistics, in terms of the number of people infected with diabetes. If it's available.
So you, Dominica News Online, the representative is asking about statistics. Do we have statistics? I know for a fact that that has been one of our challenges in the association. We've not had quantified data to really sort of even help us with some of our policies and and programs that we're looking at implementing going forward. I know in based on news items that I've read that diabetes complication amongst the fourth number one, the fourth major cause of death in Dominica, based on our statistics, complications of diabetes. That's the most I know. But in terms of amputations, diabetic retinopathy, end-stage kidney failure, these types of, we don't seem to have. I know Dr. Ricketts have been advocating for a diabetes register. The representative of the ministry might be able to narrate or bring that information, but I know Dr. Ricketts have been really pushing for that, and that would sort of help us to be able to get the credible information, particularly relating to some of the major complications that are associated with diabetes.
With regards to, well, we shared some information from the World Bank report. It was conducted in October 2024, so it was conducted last month. And based on the World Bank report, in Dominica, diabetes has reached alarming levels, affecting an estimated 12% of the adult population. According to recent health statistics, complications related to diabetes, such as cardiovascular diseases, kidney failure, and amputation, have been on the rise. Data shows that approximately 40% of individuals with diabetes in Dominica will develop serious complications, significantly impacting their quality of life and increasing healthcare costs. We share that information on the 1st of November when we launch World Diabetes Month. Yes, so there is information specific to Dominica. It's just that if you want the local, then we cannot speak to the local. We can only speak to what was done based on the World Bank. Thank you so much for your question.
Yes, please.
Dr. Esprit? Yes. Yeah. You said that the second example you gave with the lady between 18 and 36 that she hadn't seen a doctor, that after you dealt with her, she was off the insulin. Was she off complete medication or did you revive her to metformin? I'm talking because I've been a diabetic for 39 years. So when you cut off the insulin, did you give her metformin or was she cut off medication completely?
Okay, so in this particular case, she was left on type 2 diabetes management medication. It wasn't metformin. I left her on the sulfonylurea. Okay, so the cases are very individual. Sometimes on the point of diagnosis, some clients do require insulin therapy. A lot of times it's temporary. Sometimes because of the destruction and the wasting of the beta cells, they do not produce enough insulin, so that client has to be left on insulin therapy. But we have seen that with lifestyle changes, with weight loss, a lot of times patients manage to, get in better health. So it's either we have a reduction in insulin dosages, or some clients do get better and can come off insulin. Some many patients that I've seen have been on insulin therapy and right now are on no medications at all, not insulin, no oral therapy. Basically because of management of lifestyle changes, sometimes it's stressful events that they move through, etc. So every case is individual.
Okay. Number two, I've been on metformin for years, but I noticed, I don't know if it's that real because I do a lot of exercise. Maybe that is what that has caused me to lose weight. When I started, I was 140, now I'm just 100. So I'm saying now, somebody was suggesting that maybe I could move from metformin to something else. At the moment, I've moved to glybenclamide. Is that going to afford me a little more? Or my clothes, everything else is too big for me. If I take glybenclamide, will I give me a little more?
So one of the side effects of metformin is weight loss.
Yes.
Okay. Now one of the errors a lot of times made by practitioners is indicating metformin for weight loss. I want to use that opportunity to say that this is not correct.
indicated. Yeah.
Because it's basically like the side effects of the medication. So some people, even without insulin resistance, without having diabetes, are placed on metformin with the hope of losing weight. And this is not correct practice. Okay? So what you experience is a side effect of the medication of metformin. I could tell you personally, just like what you said to me, sitting in consultation, I would remove you from metformin. First consultation, you will be removed from metformin because of the drastic amount of weight that you have lost. And I would imagine that if your numbers are much better or good or controlled, that sometimes even the dose of metformin that you were on would be basically equivalent to you making improvements on your lifestyle, which you already did. You had a little bit of help with the metformin with weight loss. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe in your case, we can sit and have a one-on-one. Maybe in your case, you probably don't even need the medication that you will place on, that you will substitute it with. Okay? So like I said to the first question that you had, it's very care should be individualized. Not everybody requires metformin. Not everybody should be left on metformin. And then we also have to look at the side effects of the medications that we are taking.
Okay. So we have to make an appointment?
Yes.
Sure, you can access me, this remember I said from Capuchin to Cashan You can access me either through your health centers. I visit all the health centers and also for private care if you need to.
Yes. I know. Okay. I went to the health center. I've been going to Dr. Foods, and when he left, I went with Dr. Riley, but he was just sending me to the La Falaise for the hospital, I think. And then, so I got vertigo once, and the specialist was from Cuba or whatever. Since then, she told me go to the health center. I've been to the health center, and then when I went that morning, I thought most times when I went for my thing, they would tell me to start from 9 time, 12 o'clock, we don't have anything to eat. But then when I went to the health center, the waiting was so long. So eventually they told me there was a bar close by, go and have something to eat. I went and I had a bit or two. And then by the time the nurse looked at my thing, she had checked 280. But before I left home, I took it was 120 or thereabout. So when she said 288, I said, no nurse, that's not my real, true feeling. So I told her what happened, why it has gone so high. So she says, I didn't ask you what you get or what you didn't eat, what it is now. And when I went to the vet, they prescribed me medication, like for me to take 3 glyburide and 2 months. And when I took that, My sugar went down in 46 and something. And she's telling me that she never heard about starving after 12 o'clock. All my life, people tell me starve from 12 o'clock, they don't have anything before I take it. So, what is the health center saying?
Right, so this is something I also encountered when I started consultation of primary health care. And it's one of the recommendations that I give, that we do not encourage patients to do what you did. A lot of times, a lot of the patients I recognize will go into hypoglycemia because of the long waiting process. And also, me as a consultant, it does not give me real evidence as to what is going on. Because I need to know, you wake up in the morning, yes, you were in a period of fasting as you were sleeping. There are a lot of hormonal changes and so forth that go on while you're asleep, which impact your blood sugar. So I need to know, most clients do a fasting blood sugar when they wake, which is very good. What I recommend is that you do your normal process. You eat the breakfast that you usually eat, you take the medications that you assigned, and you come in for consultation. Right? That's what I encourage. I encourage the nurses to give that advice to the patients and the patients themselves to come in already having eaten and taken their medications, so that when the nurses do the screening, I get a frank reading of what exactly is going on. With each medication, you have a different time that it begins to act when it reaches its peak. So by then, I can evaluate the efficacy of the treatment that you're currently on. We could have a discussion about the breakfast that you have and to see how it actually impacts your blood sugar. So, sometimes we have the old way of doing things, and we just have to be open to trying new things so that we can make some progress.
Thank you very much. You wanted to say something?
Okay, question to Dr. Okay, we all know, like, it's either you get diabetes, as those old people say, through the bloodline, or genetic care, or if you're not taking care of yourself as you have to. Like, unlike me, I'm type 1 diabetic, and I'm someone who water is part of whatever I eat. I come like carbohydrates on my plate. So if I have 2 slices of that plantain, I don't really like. I rather eat it green than rice. And my rice is like basmati rice because it's lighter for me. The normal rice you have to drink it, but eat it by the time I take 2 spoons, I drink a whole bottle of water. But like, those genetically, you living a proper lifestyle, and then you find out the hormones, the insulin, everything is destroyed, and then you have to be taking, injection. Is there anything that can be done genetically? No, come on. Like, you're taking care of yourself as well as you can, and then you find out you're feeling tired, all the symptoms. What is it? I ask myself this question already. Like, what is it, like, wrong that I did for me to extract that from, I don't have a problem with diabetes because for me, I've had it for years. And then, it's like drinking a cup of water, taking care of yourself. It's normal, just as you're hypertensive or you're a cancer patient. You take care of yourself as you have to get better as days goes by. But I try to think of it. What is it? How? What causes you to inherit genetically from your bloodline?
Okay, so firstly, to clarify, because you're genetically predisposed to an illness, it doesn't mean that you are going to develop the illness. A lot of times, in most cases, there are predisposing factors. There are risk factors to developing the illness. So, for example, you could have someone in their bloodline, as we say, who has type 2 diabetes, and if that person actually takes care of themselves, is careful of not being overweight, etc., they are basically reducing the probability of developing type 2 diabetes. So a lot of times, it's not just the genetic predisposition which exposes us, but the risk factors associated with that. In your case, with type 1 diabetes, it's a different type of diabetes from type 2 diabetes, and that's why we often see it's debuted in children, right? Because it's basically the body's autoimmune response, and what it does, it destroys the cells of the pancreas, the beta cells which produce insulin, and then you have what we call an absolute deficiency. Your pancreas does not produce insulin for you, and therefore, basically for the rest of your life, you have to be on insulin therapy, which was one of the points I addressed in my speech, can be very challenging. So you, at your age, having to inject yourself. My youngest type 1 diabetic now is 3 years old. So just imagine a 3-year-old having to receive 4 insulin pricks a day. Okay, after a 3-year-old, I have a 5-year-old, and I have a 7-year-old, which I always speak about the 7-year-old because he's very disciplined. He does his insulin pricks himself. He brings his insulin to school. He counts his calories and his carbohydrates and everything like you do himself. He has his exercise book where he writes everything himself and properly controlled and managed, right? So we have different aspects to look at. I don't want you to feel like you are not alone, first of all. And that is one of the things that I would really like to do, especially for the type 1 diabetics. Get everyone together, because it's in a bracket by itself. You have 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds with type 1 diabetes. And it poses a challenge, especially with the different foods that they can eat. An 18-year-old is going to go to a party. What do I drink at that party? Right? Even with sexual health and so forth, it's very important that they are educated on these subjects. I'm going to leave you with a spiritual answer to the base of your question. The Bible says that once we are on planet Earth, we are going to face tribulation. We are going to have trials. And yours just happened to be type 1 diabetes. Okay? But be encouraged that you are, and that's one of the points I want to bring across today. In Dominica, yes, there are a lot of things that we have to improve on, but we do have the resources for proper management of diabetes. Okay? You have access. There are clients who come to me from other countries. There are clients who use the opportunity when they come from the UK, the United States, to see me. Because to get access to an endocrinologist overseas, they have to wait months. Okay? So it's a matter of tapping into the resources that we have to encourage proper management so that you don't develop complications. Okay? Yeah.
Where can one see Dr. Esprit in the public sector, and what's the process to see you publicly?
Okay, so in the public sector, I visit almost all, especially the type 3 health centers. So basically, for example, if you reside in Portsmouth, I visit the Georgetown Health Center. If, according to the number of cases, for example, Portsmouth district is very large. So this month, for example, I'll be doing Georgetown, I'll be doing Ansdemy. In the Roseau district, the Newtown Health Center at Woodbridge Bay, down at Faucony also, Maho, and Massac. I'm also doing Massac, because based on the number of clients, sometimes we have to divide the clinics because too many patients at once. Grand Bay, I visit the Grand Bay Health Center, but I've also visited Bellevue and Bagatelle, all the others. So it's just a matter of communicating with the nurses or the community health aides for the centers, and they place your name on the list with your phone number and so on. So when I'm visiting, they will give you a call to come in. Okay?
I just wanted to ask a question that someone asked me. And it's maybe I can ask Dr. Alfred. It's in reference to diets. What is available? Because many times, many of our people don't understand food portions.
Yes.
The interpretation of food labels. They might see something like fructose and don't know what it means.
Yes.
So what is in place? So what has been the ministry doing? I did hear you mention earlier on about the school health program and so forth. I know that the ministry has now a consultant nutritionist,
Yes.
Dr. Bertrand. So I don't know if you wanted to highlight some
Yes,
aspect
I
in reference to that.
Yes, so we do have nutritionists and dietitians attached to the Ministry of Health, and they go along with Dr. Esprit most of the times to the different health centers to, teach patients about their portions, what they should eat, things that would be good for them in persons with diabetes and even hypertension and the other non-communicable diseases. Now, in terms of us as medical practitioners, we always encourage our patients to eat healthy. Now, eating healthy, Dominican way, usually people think only of vegetables, fruits, and drinking a lot of water. So the patients will come to me, Doctor, I drinking my water, I eating my fruits, and I doing my vegetables. Now, when you probe a little further and you ask, how much mangoes you eating? Because mango is fruits, and doctor said to cut the mango tree. They will tell you, doctor, I cannot eat one mango. So that is the issue. We know fruits are healthy, we know they are important for our diet, but we also have to know that when we are trying to control this illness, it's portions that's significant and how often you eat. Eating one time a day won't stop your blood sugar from dropping, from spiking. Small portions at regular intervals. We say a diabetic should eat at least 6 portions a day. All right? So you have your breakfast. Your breakfast should contain more protein than starch. And I think doctor will back me up on that. Your proteins, your fibers. You don't have to sweeten everything you drink. You can just have water. Some people will have some plain bush tea. And I also have an issue with the patients. I think a couple of months back, I told them they are coming to doctor. Okay, so I see the patients most of the time first, and then I refer them to Dr. Esprit if it's a little difficult for us to control. And since we have her, which is invariable, before we had to do all those treatments by ourselves, but doctor is on board with us in primary health care. So since we have her, I refer the diabetics that are not controlled to her. Now, most of the times, the patient, we have a problem in Dominica, and I am not saying that, to embarrass anyone. And I know that the use of traditional medicine cannot be disputed, all right? But the patients will come, they will not take their medication, but they take in mango bush, some kind of grass, some kind of... So I actually made a joke with my patients because I was doing a teaching. I said, you don't need to come inside. I'm going to have a pile of bush here for diabetes, one pile for hypertension. I don't know how much leaves in the mango to tell you to take to bring down the blood sugar, but I know if I give you 6 units of insulin and your blood pressure is at that, I expect it to come this way. So we have a problem with the cultural aspect, the traditional aspect. And we don't want to rule that out because we know that before there was tablets, before there was improvement in technology, somehow our grandparents used to control their sugar with those. But we still encourage our patients that we cannot do it. We are not herbalists. So we don't know how much dose for that. And if you are seeking primary health care help, then we expect you to follow our treatment. So we have a problem with non-compliance, and doctor spoke about it. In terms of the portioning, we know that some persons cannot afford to eat certain things because, maybe they don't have it at the time. So sometimes you won't get carrots, you won't get lettuce, you won't get, and maybe you will get dasheen, you will get breadfruit. But if you eat in the dasheen and the breadfruit, we encourage you because us in our local setting, when we take in dasheen, we're not taking one slice. Everybody eating a whole dasheen in their plates. And when we make our soup, it has to have yam, dasheen, dumpling, fig, sanya, all the root crops. Everything has to go in that. Plus we have beans, fish, pig snout, chicken, and all. So we have a variety of carbohydrates, and we want a piece in everything. So everything has to go in there, and that is our local, and we cannot dispute that. But that is competing with our management for diabetes. So when a normal person is supposed to have at least 3 little pieces of stuff, we forget to put Christophane. We forget to put our green papaya. We forget to put our cabbage leaf. We forget to cut our carrots. And let me tell you, dashing and fig and plantain. And that is what is going to break down into our sugars. And that is what, because doctor, I eat in soup. Doctor, soup with, I say, I'm not dumpling it. Because we don't like 2 dumplings. Even when we go and buy our food, if we have to buy our food, and we get 1 dumpling, that is a problem for us. Not true? 1, and I watch it and I say, but you understand what I'm trying to say. So these are the challenges that we have in primary health care. And we are saying, oh, we don't have money to buy this. We have land. Some of us don't have space. We can use, conventional ways. We're saying how people using their tires to do their seasonings, those kind of things. We can use what we have. And we encourage people to use what we have. The canned foods, the box drinks, some of them marked unsweetened. And when you taste that, I can never believe it. So we encourage our patients to make their own juice. Diabetics usually come to me and say, Doctor, I don't drink juice. But you can drink juice because it's a fruit. You make your juice, you don't sweeten. Don't you, doctor, happy to have sugar, right? And that is something because I'm not saying much elevated sugars this week, because I'm still working in the clinic and I see the patients before doctors see them. And sugar is a problem. When you sweeten your tea, you should not see the sugar at the bottom of the glass. And we have a problem with that. So you can have juice. I tell the patients you can have juice. But at the same time, you don't need to sweeten it. You have to adapt to changing your lifestyle. So if you know you're diabetic, if you know you're hypertensive, then you work towards that. And of course, the Ministry of Health is helping. They assign Dr. Esprit to us. They assign nutritionists. They are dietitians. We have the health promotion units that goes around talking to people about these things. But the more we talk, sometimes we get resistant. We are not saying that there are not persons who are doing it nicely and getting good results. But in everything, you always find one person that says, don't take that medication, no, that's not good for you. That's staying inside you. So most of the time, I will tell the patients, if you go and do a surgery, you see tablets falling out. We have a liver, we have kidneys. That is what the body uses to filter those things and prevent them from becoming hazardous to our health. So we give you things in correct proportion. So we expect the kidney and the liver to deal with that. All right? So don't say, doctor, giving me too much medication. If you find the medication is too much, come back. Don't stay at home and stop taking it. If it is not going with you, I took the metformin and it gave me diarrhea. 6 months you're at home and you're not taking the medication because the metformin gave you diarrhea. But you did not come back to me. You did not go and tell Mr. Lando because he's a pharmacist as well. He gets those cases as well. You didn't go to tell him that the metformin, so he can refer you back to us or to Dr. Esprit. You just stay at your home, metformin on shelf, sugar going up. When you come back to me, is either you're almost in a coma or something else. You're seeing a little sore appearing on the foot. And doctor, at that point, you say, doctor, I'm going to be honest, I haven't been taking the medication. So we are encouraging everybody, and I'm speaking to the public, we are encouraging everybody. Some patients may have negative effects of the drug, but don't discourage other persons not to take their medication because the medication did you something. All right?
And just to elaborate a little bit on what Doctor said, the main issue that we find is lack of discipline, not so much lack of resources, but lack of discipline. Because the same patients who would complain that, let's say, they don't have the finance to buy fruits and so forth, from the moment I say, you are grade 3 kidney failure, automatically the money appears to buy the fruits and vegetables. Okay? So we tend to wait on till we present a complication or we are feeling very ill to begin, to put into play what we need to do, to exercise discipline. And that is what we are trying to encourage people not to do. Sometimes it's simple changes that you have to make. Instead of buying sweetened juice, you make your juice at home. Even for the children, the parents, instead of sending them to school with the box juices and so forth, that could be prepared at home. And in that way, that child learns that, hey, I can prepare my juice at home instead of having to. And then that's one way that you save on finances, and then you're teaching your child something healthy. Okay? So I no longer buy into the excuse of the economics, because I see that even from, to be blatantly honest, even with the poorest of people, just by making wiser choices, they're able to make strides in their management. And to speak a little bit about the natural medicine, okay? We do not discount the importance of natural medicine. For a matter of fact, where I specialized, there were actually specialists in traditional and natural medicine who would do wrongs just like us on the wards. And they would take the patient's notes and add what needs to be given, but they were specialized in that area. So they knew if they were going to add that bush, as we say, they knew the amount, they knew the quantity, they knew the effects. We would speak about the interactions that they would have with the medication. You know, like sometimes you're taking a medication, yet you're drinking a herb, and then we have to look at now the interactions that these may have, right? So it's not like we are discounting the use of natural medicine, but we almost work together in unison. And then you don't just, some people, you go to their homes, and let me tell you, I like to go to the homes, I like to do home visits, and then you see some green fluid in the fridge, and it has 5 or 6 herbs in it. And then this person may still be taking their medication. I do not know what interactions they have, nor do I know if you placed in there the current proportion that you need. Okay, so we're just asking that. Usually I tell the clients, because a lot of times, especially with older clients, even if you told them do not, they still will. So you have to be realistic. So I usually tell them, okay, if you're going down that route, I need you to seek the help of a professional, okay, of a herbalist, a certified herbalist, okay? And also, I need you to prove to me that what you are doing, one, is not causing you damage, further harm, and also that you are controlled. So if you decide that you want to use natural medicine, you come to me with an HbA1c of 12, which is very high, and then in 3 months' time, I ask you to repeat it. First of all, you've never checked the blood sugar. Since you're on the herbs, you've never checked the blood sugar, so you don't know if you're high or you're low, right? In 3 months' time, you come back to me, and your HbA1c is at 14. That means what you are doing is not working, and that's what we encounter on a daily basis. It's not working. And I always allow the patients, especially when they've been a bit resistant, to choose the path that they want, because I need you to see for yourself that a lot of times what you are doing, it's not functioning. Okay? So if we, like I said, we do have the resource, the human resource here, and if we can all come together and do individualized, specialized care, then we can have good outcomes.
Okay, one, and then after one more question, and then we have.
It's not really a question. It's according to what both doctors said. You know, sometimes we say like the resources, like the stuff we don't have. So many things. I use the dash in it. What we used to make like peeling metal. I steam in it, give it a little salt, a little oil,
As a vegetable.
That isn't so nice. Or I grate in Christophe, that tastes just like cucumber. You steam in your cocoa. You know all those things, and some people they say, no, it doesn't have anything. It does. I love tomato, but it doesn't have cabbage. Sometimes quesadillas cabbage so hard. I just steam it up and I eat it.
There's a question. Thank you for your comments. There's a question that someone asked, and they were asking, it's a very interesting question. how does the CO culture affect diabetes in Dominica? Because people practice, or young people practice so much, and we drink heavily. Are you seeing a spike, particularly after festive seasons? Do you see a huge spike in numbers?
Yes, we do. Both with diabetes and hypertension. Okay? And this is one of the things also that is leading to the incidence and increased incidence and prevalence of diabetes in younger individuals, especially when it comes to the high consumption of alcohol. Okay? And like I said, it's not that we do not know. We can no longer use the excuse that we don't know. We know. You might not know, like I may know the pathophysiology of exactly what is happening, but we know that heavy consumption of alcohol is not good for us. Whether it be for our liver, our kidneys, for our stomach, for whatever it is, we know it's not good. Okay? And we are seeing the repercussions of that, along with other factors that could lead to diabetes, such as even stress, the lack of sleep. All those things can influence. So it's a matter of making, like I said, wise choices, and we being responsible. Because I guarantee you, the heavy consumption of alcohol now, in your 20s, you might be fortunate enough to not feel the effects. But just wait till you get 50, wait till you get 60.
Oh my word.
Okay? So that's what we're seeing in now. People coming in with chronic kidney failure, end-stage renal failure in their 50s and in their 60s. And it's basically the consequence of the lifestyle they lived when they were younger. Okay? So we have to be aware, like I said in my address, that we don't just live for today. You have to live thinking about tomorrow. Okay? And sometimes we develop this, yes, in our youth, we are not concerned. Maybe we don't have a lot of responsibility, so we are not concerned. But then you live a longer life, you have children, you don't want to be in your 50s and your 60s, having to go through these complications, an amputated leg, having to go through dialysis and so forth. You have a family to take care of, etc. So it's a matter of making wise choices. But yes, the CO culture definitely is not helping the situation.
Thank you very much, doctors, for your contribution. I'm just going to highlight some of the upcoming events that DOMDA has put together. And so even as we speak, HMS Eye Center, that is operated by Dr. Ricketts, is actually having screening, retinopathy screening for patients, and that is actually on the house. She's doing this as her commitment to reducing the prevalence of diabetes in Dominica. So she's not being paid for that service, and actually she's having, I think, two more clinics subsequently. Tomorrow Friday, we're having a sidewalk health screening, and that is right around All Saints University. So if you are in Roseau or in environs and you want to have your screening done, you want to have not just your blood glucose done, but your BMI, your body fat percentage, your blood pressure done, and there is absolutely no cost to it. We are welcome to have you come on down tomorrow at our sidewalk health screening. On Saturday, we are taking our fun activity to Portsmouth, the second capital, and we're having a diabetic health clinic and cardio jam in Portsmouth, collaborated with Jolly's Pharmacy. So we are using Jolly's Pharmacy's premises in Portsmouth. We know that there is a lot of space there, and we'll be having this big clinic Saturday morning in Portsmouth. That clinic starts about 10 o'clock. The Canadian American School of Medicine, the students will be there as well, working with us, and Charlie's Pharmacy team and the Portsmouth Health District, and we're going to have a big thing happening on Saturday in Portsmouth. On Sunday, I expect hundreds of people to be participating in our diabetes health walk. And that walk, we asking you to wear something blue. You know, blue is the color of diabetes, so we expect you to wear something blue. And we'll have our music, we'll have our truck, very similar to the cancer walk. And we will be walking against diabetes in solidarity. So the walk will begin from the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church yard, right on the parking lot area right there. Police will be accompanying us, and we'll be walking through the streets of Roseau, marching against diabetes in one accord. For about 4 o'clock, because the sun sets much earlier now, so about 4 o'clock excuse me? Yes. So we gather about 4 and leave about 4:30. That is on Sunday afternoon. Okay? And Dr. Ricketts continues on the 21st with eye screening, and on the 28th with eye screening as well. So she's given us 3 days of retinopathy eye screening done by her clinic. So these are the upcoming activities that DOMDA has put together as we celebrate the month of November as No Sugar Month. No Sugar Month, right. You can get your shirts as well if you see my beautiful blue shirt. You can get your t-shirts as well at Dr. Ricketts' office in Hillsborough. So those of you who may want to have one of those shirts, Madam President, what's the cost? $40. And all the monies goes to the organization. It's we are planning some big things, and so we need money. We need money. Again, we also have some donation, how you call that? Containers at some business places. We want you to drop some money in there. I know that there are Jollies. I've seen them elsewhere. I think NCCU and so forth. We want you to put some monies in there for the association. We are not being paid here. I'm not being paid to be vice president. None of us are being paid. This is voluntary service to humanity, and we love doing it. Okay? Now, let me take this opportunity to really truly thank some people for really making today's press conference really fruitful. We want to thank the National Development Foundation of Dominica for giving us this beautiful, comfortable conference room free of cost. They did not charge our association. We want to thank the management and staff for this really, really good gift, which we certainly appreciated. We want to thank our keynote speaker, Dr. Maxime Esprit, for really, really an awesome speech. I think I will go back and look at Emonews later and again take notes of that speech. It really was really good. We want to thank Dr. Werner Alfred, who represented our Minister of Health. Dr. Alfred did an awesome job again, narrating the work of the ministry as it relates to stamping out and reducing numbers of diabetes in Dominica. She spoke about some of the innovative plans that the ministry is going to be inculcating and introducing in healthcare as it relates to diabetes management. And so, Dr. Alfred, we want to thank you, and we want to convey our thanks to the minister as well. We want to thank Archipelago for being a partner to DOMDA. They have donated water to us. And we want to also thank Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited for supplying all our water for the walk. We really want to thank them. We want to thank one of our main pharmacy partners, Jolly's Pharmacy, for an excellent job. Jolly's Pharmacy will be donating the music system and the truck for the walk. on Sunday. And so we really want to thank them for truly standing and even again partnering with DOMDA for this Saturday's health fair, using their premises and so forth, and even supplying the cardio jam. So Jolly's Pharmacy is playing a major role in this month of activity. We want to thank as well Dr. Hazel Shillingford Ricketts and HMS Eye Center for again lending her expertise to screening of the eye, particularly looking for diabetic retinopathy. As you know, one of the major risk factors, or rather complications of diabetes, is blindness. And so Dr. Ricketts has taken her time and resources to do these eye screening free of cost. Our executive, we really truly want to thank you for really the run around, the networking, the writing of letters, and all of the above. We truly want to thank you for partnering and playing your part in making today's event really well. And at this time, we really want to send get well greetings to our immediate past president, Miss Birmingham. We love you very much. I know you're listening and you are viewing from in the US, and we want to say that we are standing in the gap with you, and we truly value you as an association. And so we want to thank the media for being there, for spreading the word across that we are champions to diabetes. Yes, you may have the disease, but the disease does not have you. And so we want you to always remember that. Thank you, media, for being there and for spreading the word. And we hope to see you on Sunday on the walk, that you can film, that you can see all of us walking in unison as we stand in solidarity against diabetes. So, in closing, today is a good day to have a good day. Wear your blue. There is nothing political about DOMDA's blue. And so we are refuting and we're saying there is nothing political about our blue. We are representing diabetes awareness. And so we want to say, again, wear your blue today, rock your blue for the entire month of November as we are standing against diabetes. Madam President, we want to thank you again. I know it has not been easy studying and running around left, right, and center to make this activity possible. So to our listeners and viewers, we say thank you so much for being with us for almost an hour and a half. You've been with us. We want to thank you very much. All of us here, we are saying have a wonderful day. And we say, again, support DOMDA with everything that you have. And support us with your money. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
This was Dominica Diabetes Association World Diabetes Day press conference. This live was once again brought to you by Emonews and team. Emonews, thanks for joining.